Sharon saved her supply chain from cyber risk and ended the office goat debate.
We're going to Cleveland next because City Hall there was shut down for a second day. There's been a mysterious cyber incident. All the details on what we know and what we're learning when we come back. Let's go to the city of Cleveland now. Cleveland's been forced to shut City Hall down for 2 straight days. Officials continue to investigate what they're describing there as a cyber event. Bob Kolasky joins us on this. Bob's Senior Vice President for Critical Infrastructure at the firm Exiger, and he's a former Assistant Director of the Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency. I put up a headline on this: Cleveland City Hall closing for the second day after the cyber attack, with the mayor saying the city will close, and some city offices will also close after the cyber attack that happened over the weekend. What do we know about Cleveland?
Well, not enough right now, Connell, I think is the short answer. I mean, it is got to be frustrating to the people of Cleveland to see their government closed down, government services closed down for a couple of days because of what is yet and hard to know what happened in terms of the cyber incident, as you said, or cyber event. But it certainly looks like it was something that was widespread enough to make a lot of the IT systems not effective right now, which made it hard for people to go to work and the government of Cleveland to support citizens on day-to-day activity. The good news is, from the reporting, emergency services still seem to be available, and we haven't seen anything that looks like operational outages that are impacting the healthcare system too significantly in terms of delivering healthcare. But you know, it's enough. It's a big enough incident that it is inconveniencing people.
Now, to that point, city with an update on Twitter in terms of what's up and what's down, and they say that the city services are functioning normally despite adapting to limited IT capabilities, public safety, public works, public utilities, and airport teams actively working for city residents, and they continue to investigate. But Bob, these things have been happening more and more, right? Or the threats seem to be going higher and higher?
Certainly. Yeah, certainly has. It's not a surprise that public infrastructure, public IT investment in cities like Cleveland probably aren't where they need to be. There is a real race, which I appreciate, by state and local governments to upgrade their IT systems. That obviously needs to be funded by state and local governments and their legislatures. That's a need. The federal government has stepped in to try to assist with grant funding and the like. But as you see more and more of these incidents, they build off each other, right? State and local governments become a target for criminal activity, become a target for ransom gangs and the like. There's no reporting that I've seen that this is a ransomware incident, but we have seen across the state and local infrastructure a spate of ransomware attempts to make money off of the vulnerabilities that exist in state and local governments.
Right.
And that's something that we race to close.
A lot of times when we get stories like this, we say, well, could have been worse. What do you worry about? What's the scenario that keeps you up?
You know, there are the things that local government does that are most important. You know, the delivery of health services, the delivery of emergency services, 911. You know, those in particular, as we get closer to election day, making sure that election infrastructure is hardened and that local elections work effectively. So it is a question of criticality, Connell, that should be what keeps us up. We know there are going to be vulnerabilities at a certain level in state and local systems, but prioritize the critical systems where the vulnerabilities need to be closed to keep operational activity from being disrupted for things that are really important.
Now, you mentioned the election
and public safety.
Right, is obviously one of those. I'll give you one other before we wrap up. Reuters has a headline on the Olympics, Paris 2024 coming up, saying that they're gearing up to face unprecedented cybersecurity threats. Talk about the Olympics and the threats here and whether they're ready for it, and from what you know.
I mean, we've seen in the past actors try to influence the Olympics, and this is something that the government and the Olympic committees know is a priority and are prioritizing against it. We've seen attacks for propaganda purposes. We haven't yet seen anything that's had widespread impact on the actual conduct of the games, but it has to be a priority. You know, an Olympic committee, the Paris Olympics, it's a startup activity, right? And they have to build the structures in place, get the information, and make the investments to maintain their systems. You know, I know that kind of planning is going on, but it's not surprising that something with this much public attention is going to be potential target.
All right, Bob Kolasky, we always appreciate your time on all things cyber. Appreciate you coming on today. Let's